All right, welcome back. So in the last video, we were just kind of talking about how R can be treated as a kind of like a spoken language rather than strictly a programming language. And we are just kind of talking about the similarities and the differences. And then we were getting to know a little bit about RStudio here. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention in the last video, and that's okay because I'll mention it now, is that the script here it's super robust in that you can kind of do whatever you want in here. However, you need to follow a few conventions. You'll notice here that this green text here, it's just comments, it's just notes, okay? This is not going to be run by anything. It's not going to be run by R. The computer is just going to see it as text, and that's that, okay? So if you just want to say, if you're writing code, if you're doing some homework or something, and you say, okay, I need to come back to this, you just do hashtag or pound sign, and then like come back to this, or like a little note or whatever. Or like if you have a question about something, I highly recommend that you comment it in your script rather than like, keep it in your head or whatever, because it's easy to forget, especially when we get into the kind of higher level stuff in this class. Okay. And then this text here without the comment, without the hashtag here, is a different color. It's black. And this would be run by the computer. Now, it's totally gibberish because it doesn't follow the normal left hand, right hand side kind of thing, kind of structure. And the computer would throw an error, or would throw an error. But you can kind of see the difference here, right? Green with the hashtag, it doesn't need to be 2, it could be 1, it could be 5, it could be 4, whatever. One hashtag, at least one hashtag will turn it green, and it won't be run. Anything that doesn't have a hashtag will be run as code. Okay. Boy, I really like R, but the learning curve can be kind of steep. So we're going to start off super, super basic with just creating variables. Okay. So again, this is all going to be very similar to what we saw before in the R as a language kind of series videos, whatever, where it has a left-hand side and then a verb, right? Gets, and then a left-hand or a right-hand side. Okay. And you can kind of see, you can read this all you want, but instead of me just like flying through it, let me actually just show you. Okay. So we've got R opened up here, and it's the same thing, right? It's the same as we saw on that last slide. We have the script here. We have the console. This is all, when you open up R for the first time, this shows up. This is just the information, session information, whatever. Over here is where plots show up, and then the environment, okay? So if I say, let's say I just wanted to make a variable and I wanted to call it X, okay, lowercase x, okay? And I want to give it the value, I don't know, 1 or -1 or whatever. All I would do is say X gets and then -1. Okay. And there's a few things that we can do to run the code. I'm a big fan of using Control Enter. Okay. You can also, so I'm going to delete that just so I forget, or so I don't get confused. So if I just come up here and hit Control Enter, boom. Okay. So what happened? Well, 1 gets stored into this thing I've called X. We see that it shows up down here in the console, right? It's just a little history. And it also shows up here in the environment. Look at that. And it says X, the thing that's on the left-hand side shows up on the left-hand side. The thing on the right-hand side shows up on the right-hand side, right? So it's got this value 1. If I want to change that, I can just come here. I can hit Control Enter. And look at that. It gets shown up down here in the console as the history, and shows up over here in the environment, right? So then if I just said, okay, well, if I wanted to see what's in it, all I would have to do is type in X, I can run it, and then it shows up down here, right? So all of the resulting things, all of the output you get from R that you run in the script will show up down here, right? Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, what the heck? I know that it has 2 stored in it right now, but what is this 1? Well, this 1, all that tells you is just the length of the thing, or the index in that case. And it's only one thing, okay? Okay, very cool. Oh, I said, okay, so I'm going to change this to 3. But I said there's a few ways you can run it, run code here. You can also come up here, right there, to run, and it does the same thing. And it does it line by line, whatever. And then I run that and check it out. So something of length 1 has the value 3. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Now, what if I didn't really want to keep this up here? What if I just wanted to, maybe store something for fun or just something quickly in Y? Okay, and let me put it up here first. Okay, Y, and I want to give it the value 10 for right now. Okay, I could put it up here, but maybe I don't want to keep it in my script for some reason. There's plenty of reasons why you would or would not want to keep something in the script. Well, maybe all I would do is I would come down here to the console, booyah, and put it here and hit the same. You can hit Control Enter, you can hit Enter, whatever. In the console, it's a little different, but Control Enter works just fine. Check it out. So it's not in the script. I don't have sort of a rough draft of it. It just got run one time in the console. It's gone forever, sort of, but it still gets stored up here. And I say, okay, cool. Maybe I was just doing a double check to make sure R was running correctly, or something was doing the thing it was supposed to do and not something else, or whatever. I don't want this anymore. I do not want this anymore. Well, all I would do, and I recommend running these kind of things down in the console. If you want to remove just one thing from the environment, use this RM function. And then let me tell you this. This is something I really like. In R, you always need an open parenthesis and a closed parenthesis. You should never have mismatched kind of things. If you just hit the closed parenthesis, it does both of them for you, which is so nice. Okay, so anyway, I don't want Y to be there anymore. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so RM just stands for remove. Yeah, I'm going to put it in there, and it's gone, right? So this is good if you make a mistake or if you name something incorrectly. Like if I said, I want a linear model. Oops, I misnamed it. I meant to do model, not mode. Well, let me come down here and remove it. Boom, and it's gone. It's as easy as that. Okay, and it's pretty sweet. Okay, I think it's pretty sweet. So you're probably wondering, like, oh, what the heck? Maybe I don't want to just store numbers. Maybe I want to store characters, okay, or letters, words, phrases, even. Okay, so what if I just said, I want to name something. I'm going to call it Word, and I'm going to say, okay, Word gets, and what word do I want to give it? I could give it hello. I could give it sup. I'm going to do that. Sup. I'm going to run that. Check it out. Boom. It gets stored over here, right? So we see it down here in the console one time as a history, and we see it over here in the environment saved as Word, right? So the value, or the thing Word has the value sup, and it's a character, okay? And I want to see what Word is. Boom, I just put it there, okay? So it's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool in that you can do both of these things. This is good for when you're trying to, be a little fancy with figures and graphics and whatever. This comes in handy, I think, a ton. Okay, Carson, statistics, you're saying, statistics never deals with just one number, right? It's always a bunch of things. You are correct. You are correct. So let's say that I'm going to get rid of all of this, and I want to replace it with some more fancy stuff. Well, I could come in here and type in, RM Word and RM X and whatever else. But also the nice thing about RStudio here is that we have this little broom up here in the environment. If I want to get rid of everything that's in here, not just one thing, but every single thing, I'm just going to click on that. It's going to say, whoa, are you sure you want to do that? And I say, yes, of course I'm sure. Because I don't want these anymore. I'm just going to say, boom, yes. And it's totally empty now. And it even tells us environment is empty. Cool. Okay, so I want to store, I'm going to get rid of this too. Also, I hope that you're coding along with me at home. I'm going to say, I'm going to store something. I'm going to call it box. Okay. And here's another thing. Here's all the functions that are similarly named box. You can click on these if you wanted to type it in for you. Of course, that's not what we're doing right now, but we're going to call something box, and it's going to get a bunch of numbers. Okay. I want to give it maybe 3 numbers. I'm just going to give it 1, 2, and 3. I wonder if this is going to work. Something about this makes me feel like it's not going to work. Like, I don't know. Let's just run it and see what happens. No. What the heck? We get an error. Unexpected comma in box gets 1 comma. Okay, so it even tells you. The nice thing about R is it's pretty like straightforward sometimes with its errors. In this case, it says there's something unexpected and it looks like this, and it happened right after this. Okay. What do we need to do? Well, if you saw the PowerPoint, it's probably going to look something like this, right? Okay, so to type in a vector, or to type in just a series of numbers, a list, if you will, we need to put it into this function here, C, and that just collects all the numbers, concatenates or whatever. And we just put it in here, and I'm going to then run it. Whoa, check it out. Box left-hand side has a number of length 1 through 3, or 1, 2, 3, and it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I want to see what's in this. Boom, right? So here's the index, right? This is just sort of not telling you how many things are in there, but just what row it is. And it's 1, 2, and 3. Easy as that. And maybe I want to say, instead of throwing everything into a box like this, maybe you want to put it into a bin. Oops, put it into a bin. Okay, and then I maybe want 5 numbers. I'm just picking random numbers. Okay, is that 5 numbers? Yes, it is. Boom. Okay, and then I type in bin, run it, check it out. So I've got a list of numbers 3, 6, 3, 68, and 9. Totally random, right? I just kind of smashed the keyboard. Okay, and it turns out that if you wanted to say, here's a thing. Sorry, my fingers are a little spastic today. I can also put in 3, 6, hello, and 2. Boom. Okay, and we see that it then gets the thing on the left-hand side gets stored as 3, 6, hello, and 2. Now, you'll notice that this gets stored as a CHR. That means it's a character. Because there's one word in here, that means everything else is going to be treated as such. Okay, it's going to be treated all as words. That's something quirky that R does. It turns out to be helpful when you have like really kind of messy data, but it is good to know that this is what happens. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. You can kind of tool around in here all you want. I think it's really helpful just to kind of pretend to do things. Oh, one other thing. Let me do this. Let me get rid of all of this. You're probably wondering, especially if you've had other experience with other programming languages, you're probably wondering, like, can I just do, what's the difference between this and this? Nothing. The arrow here is specific to R. Let me move this out of the way. The arrow here is specific to R. You can do an equal sign. There are a few instances where these things are treated a little differently. And I'm trying to think. I think for now in our class, it's fine. Oftentimes when you have things outside of functions, the arrow is better. And then when you have things that are inside of functions, the equal is the only one you can actually use. But let me do this. Oops. Okay, so if I run this, booyah. If I run this, it does the same thing, right? Again, a few instances where that's not the same, but for now, you can use either. I always use the arrow just because it looks cool and it's kind of specific to R, and I kind of like it. So anyway, that's your basic storing of data, creating objects, creating things, lists of numbers, and whatever else. And then that's pretty much that. So with that, I will see you next time.